Have you ever heard that crash diets may damage your metabolism and make you gain weight back very fast? Or another popular idea that flexible diet is so much better than rigid rules. If you're flexible with your diet, then you found cure at all. But have you tried it and maybe you failed and feel guilty for it? That even flexible diet didn't work. And maybe you have heard that Ozempic is for quitters and weight loss is all about willpower, and if you had to take Ozempic, then you have no willpower. We'll bust these 3 myths in today's video. My name is Olga Onoshenko and I'm certified psychotherapist, nutritionist, personal trainer, and I've got a PhD from the University of Sheffield, and this channel is created to improve your mental and physical health. And as a bonus, you may lose some weight on the way. In the previous video, I have already busted 3 myths about glucose, insulin and intermittent fasting. And this video we're starting with the danger of crash diets. In order to bust this myth, we first need to define what is crash diet. And when we talk about very low calorie diet, those that are really dodgy and dangerous, we're talking about eating less 800 calories per day, losing more than 1.5 kilograms or 3 pounds per week, and having very low fat in your diet. Such diets indeed are quite dangerous, but they may be prescribed by medical doctors in order to save you from metabolic diseases, diabetes, and under medical supervision, they can be really life-saving intervention. But if you do not desperately need to urgently lose a lot of weight, you indeed need to be careful. But we also can say that a diet where you eat 12 or 1500 calories is extreme, and when you lose 1 kilogram per week is quick, and deficit of 1000 calories can be also regarded as a lot. For many people it's 50% of their daily calorie intake. This can be considered also crash diet, right? But such diet is much safer, and there is not much difference between slower weight loss and faster weight loss. So 1 kilogram per week weight loss on high calorie deficit. So in order to lose 1 kilogram per week, you need to create a deficit of 1000 calories per day. That's quite a lot, right? But it will not damage your metabolism and it will not make you gain weight back fast. Let's explain why. First, let's talk about metabolism. Diets and weight loss do damage our metabolism. They do not damage it, but our bodies adapt. Hormones adapt and our bodies become more lethargic. We start saving energy. Even if we walk the same 10,000 steps a day, we spend less energy walking these 10,000 steps. We're less likely to stand up extra time to go to the fridge and have a snack. So we start burning fewer calories because we are less active subconsciously. And this is normal. This is totally normal. Also, when we lose weight, we become lighter, right? And this influences our basal metabolic rate. So here we are also burning more calories at rest. Moreover, our hormonal profile changes. Leptin goes down, satiety hormone, ghrelin goes up, hunger hormone. Our thyroid may slow down a little bit. There are a lot of hormonal changes, and they're natural and they can be normal if you're not doing anything crazy. And it doesn't matter how fast you arrive there, whether you're losing half kilogram per week or whether you're losing 1 kilogram per week or 250 grams per week. If you are in England, then we're talking about half pound, pound, or 2 pounds per week. There is no difference in how much they influence your metabolism. It all boils down to how much weight you have lost. So if you've lost 10 kilograms, it doesn't matter whether you've lost it in 2 months or 4 months or 6 months. The effects, the metabolic effects will be quite similar. Next, weight regain. The myth is that we regain weight fast after crash diet. It's not about which diet we have chosen. It's not about how fast we have lost weight. It's about why we went on a diet. It's about what's our attitude towards diet. What's our relationships with food? Did we have problems before? Are we inclined to overeating and binging? Of course, diet can exacerbate such problem, but only if you had problems with disordered eating before. What's more important is your attitude towards yourself in the process. Why you started dieting in the first place? Is this because you wanted the best health? Were you flexible? Even rigid diet can be flexible. We'll talk about it a little bit later today. Did you do it out of self-care or out of hating your body? Are you inclined in general to emotional eating, to overeating and binging? These are important questions. This is what we should answer first before talking about whether we were in high calorie deficit or low calorie deficit. This is question number 20. It all boils down to psychology. And before we move on to the next myth, I need to warn you about this extreme, consuming less than 800 calories per day. What's the danger here? Such diets are normally very low fat. And in very low fat diet, we are at risk of gallstones. So our gallbladder does not contract as often as it should contract to release bile, and then bile stagnates and becomes more concentrated. Cholesterol can crystallize, and over time this leads to gallstones formation. That's why if you go on such low-calorie diet for weeks, do not do it on your own. This should be prescribed and this should be under supervision. But if you're choosing between losing 1 kilogram per week or 500 grams or 250 grams, it's totally up to you how fast you want to go. Some people actually benefit from faster weight loss because it's more motivating, and the level of hunger may not differ much whether you're on 100 or on 1000 calories deficit or 500 calories deficit or 200 calories deficit. So think what suits you. Are you better off losing weight faster, losing weight, reaching your goal and forgetting about it and living your normal life in maintenance? Or do you want to make it slower for months on small deficit? It depends. There is no right or wrong. What suits you? Are you a sprinter? Are you a marathoner? How your hunger, your body reacts to higher deficit or lower deficit. And very often we do not see big results on careful dieting, right? And this can be quite demotivating. So do what's right for you and do not be afraid of larger calorie deficits. Next myth is flexible dieting is better than rigid dieting. Rigid dieting leads to eating disorders. Flexible dieting is safe. So rigid dieting, and this is the myth. But again, before we bust this myth, let's talk about what is rigid dietary restraint. It's black and white approach, all or nothing approach to dieting, and it involves strict rules, categorizing foods into allowed and not allowed, prohibited, good, bad, fattening and not fattening, and looking at small slip-offs the diets as a total failure. So if I have broken one rule, then all diet is ruined. So I will have to start from the next Monday. Until the next Monday, I will eat in everything and anything. And what is flexible dietary control? It's regulating quality and quantity of foods without harsh restrictions. And then if we break these rules from time to time, then nothing catastrophic happens, we do not feel like we have lost control, we do not feel like failures. But the problem is, even flexible control is still control. There are still rules, there are still restrictions. And modern scientists found that there is a huge overlap between rigid and flexible dieting. And what do they suggest? They suggest adaptive regulation, where there is no rules we're breaking, there are no restrictions, and it's about finding balance between internal body signals, hunger, satiety, satisfaction, and external guidelines, nutritional recommendations, health goals. So it's sort of a synthesis between internal and external. And this approach is very close to intuitive eating and is considered to be more sustainable long term. I will film a separate video about rigid, flexible, and adaptive. And I know it's hard to explain very quickly. And I know you may not feel like you understand it completely, but I hope these examples will show you a more clear picture. So imagine Anna, and she decides to cut out carbs. I would never cut out carbs myself. I would never suggest it to my clients, but Anna decided to cut out carbs. So if Anna is rigid in her dietary approach, she will be offered bread at lunch and she will say, no, thank you, I never eat bread. If I have even one slice, my diet is ruined. Later, the same week, when she finally eats some, and most of us are not robots, sooner or later we will have our prohibited foods, she feels that she has failed and ends up finishing half a loaf. Now, how does it look like when Anna is flexible? Anna usually avoids bread, but at her friend's birthday there is pizza, and she takes a small slice. She tells herself, it's okay, I'll get back on my plan tomorrow. Of course, it feels less extreme, but she still frames it almost as cheating, and she's going to compensate later. And if Anna uses adaptive approach to dieting, that she notices that she actually wants pizza, she is hungry, pizza looks delicious, she has a slice, enjoys it without even questioning herself, and then checks in with her body. Do I want more, or am I actually satisfied? So there is no drama, no guilt, no sense of being off or on the diet. It's simply a part of normal eating. Pizza is normal. Of course, most of the time I eat balanced meals with a lot of protein and fiber, but pizza is normal as well. By the way, when I talk about pizza, I always mean artisanal pizza. Good quality, high quality pizza made of high quality flour, the best Italian cheese is used, not that super calorific Domino's pizza with processed cheeses, with low quality dough. I'm always talking about high quality pizzas, and normally they are not even that calorific and are not really heavy. So for me, pizza is not a cheat food. I don't have cheat foods, but it's important to clarify which pizza we're talking about. Normally we demonize pizzas, but pizzas can be so different. And a final myth, weight loss is all about willpower and Ozempic is for quitters. So this idea is deeply ingrained, is still deeply ingrained, and it sounds like if you just had enough willpower, you would eat less, you would move more and lose weight. Simple. And if you use medication like Ozempic, it must mean you have given up. But science paints a very different picture. First of all, weight is genetics. 40-70% of your weight is explained by genetics. What does genetics influence? This is what's most important. How sensitive your brain is to the rewarding properties of food. How strongly the areas of brain lighten up when you see food, tasty food, or when you're consuming tasty food. Some people can drive through McDonald's and not even think about having a apple pie. But for some people, it's just enough to see ads and they will be thinking about apple pie all day long. And they require much more willpower not to go into drive-in and ordering some food. It's not a character flaw, it's neuroscience. It's how your brain is wired. And this can be genetic. What else is genetic? How your hormones change once you lose weight. Some people do not change much. The organism, the metabolism of some people, the hormonal profiles of some people do not change much as they lose weight. Other people's bodies react really harshly to weight loss. They become excessively hungry. They start thinking more about food. Again, they have to tolerate stronger hunger than other people. And finally, how strongly, and in other words, genetic determines how strongly your body defends against weight loss. So when we talk about losing genetic lottery, imagine you have to run a marathon with 20 kilograms on your back. And I'm not talking about weight here. I'm not talking about extra fat here. I'm talking about these differences in neurobiology, in metabolism, and actually even in life experiences. So, for example, I am really sensitive to hunger. When I try to fast for 24 hours, for 36 hours, it's really hard for me. I cannot focus. I become very weak. I cannot sleep. If I skip my dinner, I cannot sleep. I will be waking up at night. And my friend, and I consider myself, like, for me, it's my lottery. I didn't win a lottery, but I didn't lose a lottery. I'm in between. It's not easy for me to maintain a lean body, but it's possible. And my friend, who has won the lottery, gained a little bit of weight a couple of months ago. Because she started eating more chocolate. And she decided to lose this weight. And she says, well, I just go to the gym at night. And then once I come back home, it's 8, 9, 10 p.m. And it's too late to eat. So I just go to bed. And I ask her, are you not hungry? Like, can you fall asleep? And she says, I can tolerate it. And 10 years ago, when I wasn't educated in nutrition and psychology, I would think she has willpower to tolerate hunger, and I do not. But now I know that her hunger signals are not as strong as my hunger signals, because I can tolerate hunger, but I will have problems falling asleep and I will be waking up during the night. And it is influenced by a lot of factors, starting with fat percent, finishing with insulin sensitivity and so many other things. So let's not even dive into that, but here is the fact. It's easy for her, it's not easy for me. Can I do this? Yes, but it takes much more effort. It's so much harder. And I think the key here is, and I think the key difference between naturally lean people and naturally not, and the naturally overweight people is the brain's reward system. Because eating is not only about fueling the body. Food also activates dopamine system, the circuits involved in motivation and reward. Our brains are built so in order to survive. This is an evolutionary mechanism. Our brain needed to remember where the food is. Our brain and our bodies and our brains are designed to love food. Food is rewarding. Certain neural circuits fire up when we think about food, when we see food, when we eat food. Highly palatable, higher calorie foods, for example, the combination of sugar, fat, and salt, trigger a strong dopamine response, reinforcing the urge to eat them again, because eating calorific foods is more beneficial from evolutionary perspective. We're more likely to survive if we choose calorific foods. And people differ in how sensitive these pathways are. Some brains light up more strongly in response to food cues, sights, smells, thoughts of food, and this makes resisting far harder. So this is why one person can forget about biscuits in cupboard, while another thinks about them all afternoon until the package packet is gone. And it's not lack of willpower. It's reward system doing its job very, very well. Of course, it's not the only difference, but it's one of very important differences. And GLP-1 agonists, such as Ozempic, target that. It reduces the activity of reward system in the brain. So they dampen reward-driven eating. This is also called food noise. And some people give a feedback that it's so much easier to live without this food noise. When they start taking Ozempic or other GLP-1 agonists, they say that it's life-changing. Because before they put much, much more effort than anyone else. Believe me. Trust me. So Ozempic is not for quitters. Ozempic it takes these 20 kilograms off your shoulders when you are running health marathon. So it's the end of constant mental battle. So it's more about leveling the playing field. It's not about bypassing the effort. There is still effort to be made, like exercise, for example, taking care of your balanced nutrition. But at least it makes people equal. So that's it for today. Please write down any questions in the comments. Check links under this video. Do not forget to subscribe. More videos are coming your way. See you soon.